The cat parasite that may change human behavior. A parasite from cats may be quietly messing with human brains, not in a zombie movie way, more like a microscopic passenger that gets into animals, changes their behavior, and then leaves scientists staring at cats like they know too much. Its name is Toxoplasma gondii, which sounds like a spell you cast when your litter box becomes legally concerning. And this tiny parasite has one very strange dream: to end up inside a cat. Here is the creepy part. Toxoplasma gondii can infect many warm-blooded animals: birds, mice, sheep, humans. Basically, if you are warm and full of cells, this thing is looking at you like studio apartment space. But it can only complete the most important part of its life cycle inside cats and other members of the cat family. Cats are not just pets here. They are parasite headquarters. Inside a cat's intestines, the parasite can reproduce and release microscopic eggs into the environment through cat feces, which is a very polite scientific way of saying cat poop can become a tiny biological escape room. Now, before everyone looks at their house cat like it just joined a secret cult, most people do not get this parasite by dramatically touching one cat. Humans can be exposed through contaminated soil, food, water, or undercooked meat. So yes, your cat is involved in the story, but so is gardening, cooking, livestock, dirt, and that one person at the barbecue who says, "Relax, it's supposed to be pink." Once the parasite enters a body, it can form tiny cysts in tissues, and one of the places it can end up is the brain. That is the sentence where the music should get illegal. The most famous part of this story is what happens in rodents. Normally, mice and rats are supposed to be scared of cats. That is not a personality trait. That is basic survival software. Cat smell should trigger one message in the rodent brain: leave immediately, do not pack, do not explain. But infected rodents have been observed losing some of their fear of cat odor. Some studies even suggest they may become more drawn to it, which is a terrible life decision for a mouse. It is like a tiny rat suddenly saying, "You know what smells cozy? The mouth of my main predator." From the parasite's point of view, this is genius. If the infected rodent gets eaten by a cat, the parasite gets exactly where it wants to go. From the rodent's point of view, this is the worst GPS update in history. So is this mind control? In rodents, it is one of the creepiest examples of possible parasite-influenced behavior. But it is not a little worm sitting at a control panel going, "Turn left. Approach cat. Ignore whiskers." The reality is messier. Parasites can affect inflammation, brain chemistry, stress pathways, and how animals respond to smells. The result can look like the parasite rewired the animal's fear. Which is somehow worse. Because the mouse does not get a villain speech, it just gets bad instincts. Now we get to the part everyone wants to know. Can this parasite change human behavior? Maybe. But this is where we have to keep the science seatbelt on. Some studies have found associations between Toxoplasma gondii infection and things like risk-taking, reaction time, personality differences, or psychiatric conditions. And that sounds terrifying. But association does not mean the parasite caused it. For example, if people who own motorcycles are more likely to have the infection, does the parasite make people like motorcycles? Or are risk-taking people more likely to eat undercooked meat, travel, handle animals, or do things that increase exposure? That is the scientific problem. The parasite may influence behavior, or behavior may influence exposure, or both, or neither. Science is fun, because every answer immediately creates a paperwork monster. For most healthy people, toxoplasmosis causes no symptoms, or mild flu-like symptoms. A lot of people never even know they were infected. But it can be dangerous for people with weakened immune systems. And it can be especially serious during pregnancy if someone gets infected for the first time, because it can affect the developing baby. So this is not just a weird cat fact. It is a real public health issue wearing tiny parasite shoes. But again, this does not mean cats are evil. Cats are not sitting on the couch whispering, "Yes, human. Clean the litter box. Join the parasite economy." They are just part of the parasite's life cycle. The real villain is a single-celled organism, with better marketing than most YouTube channels. The disturbing thing about Toxoplasma gondii is not that it definitely controls people. The disturbing thing is that behavior may not be as private as we think. We like to imagine every choice begins inside our own mind. But biology is crowded. Hormones affect mood. Bacteria affect digestion. Viruses can change behavior in animals. And parasites can push hosts in directions that help the parasite survive. So the real horror is not that a cat parasite turns people into zombies. It is that the line between me and the tiny things living inside me is blurrier than we want. So the next time your cat stares at you from across the room, remember, somewhere in nature, a parasite evolved a strategy so strange that it may make prey walk closer to predators. And that raises one very uncomfortable question. Is your cat controlling the parasite, or did the parasite just use the cat to get closer to you?